Welcome to Behind the Pint. I'm your host, Spicy. And on this podcast, we raise our glasses to resilience. Together, we're going to explore stories of triumph, healing, and the strength that you can find in vulnerability. Uh, I've found over my years that sometimes the most inspiring tales are brewed from the darkest moments. I've known this guy, our next guest, for 2, 3 years, and it's an honor to have him on my show. He's a good dude. Everybody, please welcome Branden Hensel. Man, come on up.
Hey, everybody. Hey,
Holy shit, you're outside.
I am.
I always knew you were a mountain man, but here you
Yeah,
are, like literally in the mountains.
yeah, the Pacific Northwest out here on the coastline of California. Beautiful.
That's actually the ocean over there.
It is.
You got like sparkle lights on your house?
Uh, just some outdoor lights. I also got a dimmer switch hooked to them so I could make them brighter or dimmer. Pretty sweet,
Like
you
you
know?
can see this shit from space.
Yeah. Yeah, can do that. I have a 30-foot Pacific yurt up here in the mountains.
Holy crap. A yurt. You actually live in a yurt.
Yeah, and it's 100% off grid, no power
How do you get your
or
power?
water. But I have my own power supply and got my own water. Got a mountain spring on the property, and I haul water up to some holding tanks above the hill, and it's gravity fed to the earth, and it's pretty cool.
So you get plenty of hot showers. You're never without power for cooking and stuff.
No, in fact, 2 years ago we had forest fires, and the
Yeah.
whole town was without power for 2 weeks,
We
I
were.
believe.
Yep.
And the water, a lot of people they have full hookups, so they were suffering lack of power and water, but I was completely unaffected up here. And
I love
I
it.
wasn't like too I helped a lot of people is what I would say. I have horse pasture. I let people store their horses and their sheep. Some people had goats for the fire evacuations, and that was pretty cool. So I felt good to help people in time of need. I was also delivering water, and that was pretty neat, being
Nice.
able to help people.
So I've known you for a little while. We used to do the same job for different company. We used to
We
take
did.
people to their dialysis appointments 3 times a week, and we
Yeah.
basically had what 6.5 hours to do nothing but sleep, eat, and talk to each other.
Oh, that is so true. Yes, the boredom got to us, but we were pretty creative with our downtime. I would say we would go
We
out
were
and
like
eat. Yeah,
Chinese food. I went bowling.
yeah.
I
I
always
remember.
wanted to be able to go to the movie theater, but they never did a show until like 4:30 or
Oh,
5. By that
yeah,
time,
we're
it was
pushing
too
our
late.
time limit for the day, but
Hmm.
yeah.
So
Uh,
we got to know each other doing that. And I think the one incident in my mind that really made you and I bond as friends was when we had to drive home through a horrific snowstorm.
oh my gosh, yeah. So I
Up,
drove like this. Uh, that was a Ford E. I don't really remember. It's like a 450 or something. It was a dually, 10-passenger bus, and that thing was not 4-wheel drive. But you had the dually tires on the back. But man, that was a gnarly day. I remember that. Couldn't see in
our
front of
cus-
you. It was like a complete whiteout, and just snowing like crazy. And I
did,
believe you were
did you
behind me on
go
that trip.
did you go through the trail that goes west, the what is it, the Fred Drury Highway, or did you actually keep
Yeah.
going up the hill?
No, I didn't take the hill because I just
That's right.
knew
We both
better.
went Drury, right?
Yeah, we did that scenic bypass, Newton B. Drury off
Yeah.
Highway 101, and that was through the redwoods and
Holy
stuff. And
crap.
it was crazy though. Oh man,
I'm gonna say
it's like
if
28 degrees
it
out.
was if it was me in my car by myself, yeah, I would have freaked out. But it wouldn't have
Yeah,
felt as bad as or as I don't know, antsy as I was because we were both carrying passengers.
yeah,
Like we
yeah,
had people's lives on our hands for that drive. I
yeah.
remember at the end of that shift, I'm driving to go get gas, and my gas station is right past your office. You had the doors of the bus open, and you're sitting there drinking a Monster.
I
All I
was.
could do was pull in and just have a cigarette and just sit and just like I told you, it felt almost like we went through combat together that day. That was a
Yeah, it
hell
was
of a drive.
crazy. Yeah, we're road warriors that day.
No shit. the things
Yeah.
that we've done. But that's how we bonded, and that's how we got to know each other. And through that time, we've connected after that, little by little. I went on to work somewhere else, but Brandon's always been a driver.
Yeah.
Loved what he does, but I've always known that there was a little something extra there. So I figured
Yeah.
that we'd take this time to have you on Behind the Pint and talk. So first off, let me start the interview by asking you, how old are you?
I am now 32. Yeah.
32 years old, man.
Man, the time flies by. It's like the days go by slow, but the years go by fast.
Yeah.
It really does.
So talk to me about your parents and growing up. What'd your parents do?
Um, so as early as my recollection can start, I could say I was 5. My mom, she worked at the hospital. She worked for Sutter Coast Hospital, the only hospital here in Crescent City, California. And then my father, he was
Was she
a
a nurse or
caregiver.
a doctor?
It's called admitting. So like you go in and
Oh, she
give
worked at
her
the
all
front
the
desk.
information, and she would log you into her computer and get you ready and seen for whatever reason you needed to be there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then my father, he was a tree faller. He worked for a few different companies because he was a tree faller, kind of like a private contractor. And I think my first job I ever had, I was probably 9 years old, and it was in the summertime with him, going in the woods working with him. It was crazy.
Really?
Yeah, so a little kid like me, probably like 120 pounds soaking wet, basically going through the woods with him. And he was a tree faller, so we'd go into logging units, and I'd be packing his gas can and his backpack of extra parts and stuff. And I did that when I was so young. It's crazy, and I didn't even get paid for it. Looking back on it all, but making all those memories was pretty cool.
So
Really,
every time I talk to you, every time
yeah.
that we get together, you're out doing something. You're out hunting. You're out living in a fucking yurt. You're gonna go on a hike up this goddamn hill that nobody gives a shit about. You love
Yeah,
the out. Did you get that from your dad? Is that where the
I
love of
would
that came from?
say, yeah, mostly because it's like a lifestyle I grew up with, so it's all familiar with me. It's not out of the ordinary for like me, someone like you, for example. Like
Yeah.
going
Hey,
out in the woods, you
asshole.
might be like, I don't really want to do it, but for me, it's just like, hell yeah, man, saddle up, let's go.
Another day. Well,
Yeah,
I've told you my ideal adventure that I've wanted to do for years. I told you this not too long ago was I'd love for you and me to go gold panning.
I've really been thinking about that. I really have.
Just to get out for a weekend, a guy's weekend, we'll grab a couple of racks of beer and we'll just go pan for gold on some goddamn creek somewhere up in the
I know
hills.
some good spots, and I've never really done it before, but
Me
there'd be
either.
gold there because like
You
there's
know what's
old.
you know what's funny? Is we're the assholes that would get lucky on our first time and find a vein and go cash
Yeah.
in for $1 billion.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see
It's
something like
true.
that.
So your dad was outdoorsy and you picked that up from him. You're out there working in the woods. What
Yeah.
about school? How was your
School.
relationship with your folks and school? Like, were you a good student? Were you a bad student? Did your parents get on you for homework?
Uh, looking back on it, I didn't even really try. I wasn't motivated enough in school. I kind of hated
How
it. It
come?
kind of sounded like a prison sentence now that I look back on it. See,
Really?
yeah, see, like nowadays people are like breaking into schools and stuff. But when
Hmm.
I was there, I was trying to break out.
But what
But
was it about the schooling that you did? Was it just like having to sit and you're not outside and you're not doing this and that?
a lot of that, yeah,
Or
because I found
yeah.
myself like in high school taking all the shop classes and then playing football ever since you could start at an early age, single A, double A, triple A. And then all the way through high school, I played
Did you play
football.
varsity?
Yeah, for 3 years because when I was a sophomore, they bumped me up instead of junior
Were
varsity. I was on the varsity team.
were you that good?
I'm not saying I was the best, but I was good enough to make it up there. Yeah.
Okay, so what was your position?
So
What'd
like
you
on
start as?
offense, like offense, I was left guard and right guard. They'd switch you off and on. And then defense, it was mostly like center or left tackle, right tackle, like the front lines offense and defense on the front lines.
Okay.
And then my senior year of high school, I started being the kicker because I could kick almost a 60-yard field goal, and that's impressive.
No.
Man, I could boot that ball forever. But
Seriously?
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
NFL shit, bro.
it's pretty close, huh? But I don't think I could do that anymore.
No, we're all
Yeah,
old now.
yeah, things hurt now. But looking back at it, oh man, those days were so great.
So what were you like
Football.
in I'm trying to get a picture of Branden in high school. What were you like? Were you a popular kid? You have a lot of friends, you hang out with the cool guys?
I had a lot of friends. I did not prefer to hang out with the cool guys because I grew up hella poor, man. I was dirt poor. I didn't have anything. I had like 2 pairs of pants and like 2 shirts, kind of thing, you know. My parents worked really hard for their money, you know, but like we grew up poor, so uh, I just had a lot of friends, but only hung out with a few.
Was this you in high school? Oh, look at this guy. Look at
Yeah,
you.
that might have been my senior year. Looking back at it,
Look at the muscles on this guy. Did you work? Well, that was for football, right? Like you had to
yeah, I was super
keep your
strong back
physique up.
then.
Okay.
I could let's see, it was 230 pounds or 245 pounds on the bench press I could bench. And then like those deadlifts could go up to like about 500 pounds.
No.
Oh man, we had this wall of like weights and stuff, and they would put your name on it if you could lift that weight. And my name was on the board 4 times. That was pretty cool.
That's all right, man.
Yeah.
So you were a starter?
Nowadays, I don't think I could do it, but back then, man.
Look
I
at
was
this
pretty,
guy. Look at you with the dog and the gun.
yeah, that was my
So
yellow lab back in the day. His name was Tucker.
Tucker. Was he
That's
your buddy?
actually my senior picture.
Okay.
If you were to look at that nowadays, people would be like, "Oh my God, he's got a gun."
Yeah,
But
no
where I
kidding,
come
right?
from, in this little small town,
Dude,
that's
tell
normal.
me about it. I was just Yusuf, our producer, said the same thing when we were doing the pre-show before you showed up.
Yeah,
We were going through the photos and he goes, "Oh, he's got a gun in his school photo." I'm like, dude, that's small town America, dude. That's what it's
yeah,
like.
that's it. Yeah, I mean, not much anymore. It's pretty rare, but back then it
Yeah.
was normal.
So tell me
Yeah.
about the gun and Tucker and all that. Did you guys do a lot of hunting when you were growing up? You and your dad?
Yeah, that's a 870 Remington 12 gauge shotgun. It could shoot 2 3/4 and 3.5 inch shot shells, I believe. And that story of that shotgun came from my grandpa. He had a friend that was an airplane pilot, and he wanted him to hold on to it for a trip he was going on. So my grandpa held on to it, and his friend died in an airplane crash.
Oh no.
And that's
That
how he,
crash where it's like, hold on to this?
yeah, he's like, hold on to this gun for me. I got to go out of town for a while on my airplane. And when I come back, I'd like to get it back. He said, yeah, no problem. I'll hold on to it for you. But the story goes, the airplane crashed in the mountains and he died. And my grandpa held on to it. And then he handed it down to me on my 16th birthday. So that's the story of that shotgun.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's
You
got
still
like,
have it?
I do. It's like a sentimental piece of history, but I also
Yeah.
still use it and stuff. But nowadays, I don't use the guns. I would say hardly ever
Only in
anymore.
only in places like Northern California is a family heirloom the shotgun that's been handed down from grandfather to father to son to grandson. I mean, that's just what you guys do up here. For me, it's a
Yeah,
clock I'm waiting for my dad. I'm not saying I'm waiting for my dad to die, but when he
yeah,
passes, that clock goes to me. It'll go to it's just been passed down. Here
yeah,
it's
totally.
guns.
Yeah, we
Shotguns
do
are the
that.
legacy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you went through high school, you played a lot of football. Any awards? Did you guys ever go to any championships or do anything like that?
Not in high school. We had playoffs and stuff, and we won one championship in AA football, I believe it was,
Okay.
and that was such a cool moment. And let's
You
see.
remember that feeling when the buzzer went to 0 and you
Oh,
knew
it was tied. I don't really remember the score, but it was like we scored 2 touchdowns, they scored 2 touchdowns, and it went into overtime. And we were so exhausted because these two teams, our team and the other team we played, we were like, we're so good, you know. So every play, we're just giving it our all. But I remember when the fourth quarter ended, and then we went into overtime. We went into overtime 3 times because we scored, then they
in this
scored.
championship game.
Yeah, it was intense, and we were all bloody and muddy and exhausted.
This
And
is what you want from a championship game, though. No, I mean,
yeah, we fought. Both teams fought to the bitter end on that one, and we were all exhausted, and we both gave it our all, you know. But we scored the last point and won the championship by 1 digit, 1 point. It was
wow.
like 48-49 or something. I don't
You got
remember,
your
but
Al Bundy moment.
yeah,
The one thing you'll remember forever.
we got big trophies and medals and plaques for that. That was pretty cool.
Girls?
That's exciting. Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we got girls. We got all the girls. Football players get all the girls. I wasn't a football player. I never got girls. I was a nerd. I got nerd girls who sometimes were crazy.
Hey, there's someone for everyone out there. That is so true.
All right. So let's talk about high school and relationships. How was your high school dating? Were you a ladies' man? Were you kind of to yourself? Because when I know you, and that's not a criticism. It's just what I've known of Branden is you kind of can be a shy guy sometimes.
Yeah, it seems like I direct my energy only towards things that seem worth it to me. I mean, having fun with the ladies.
Very true.
Yeah, having fun with the ladies is cool and all, but I would say I had a few dates, but honestly, when I was a senior in high school, I was dating a college student.
What?
Her name was Jamie. She was Italian.
Do we need to
And
bleep that name, or are we good with that? You didn't give the last
it's
name.
good. I have no idea where she is. We ended on good terms. It's okay.
She's one of our biggest supporters. She just subscribed to the show.
Oh, I got a phone call. No, I'm joking. I dated this Italian chick. She was in college, and I was a senior in high school.
Now, Italian, like I'm Italian, or like from Italy?
Like you, exactly.
Okay, like an American Italian girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how'd that work out?
It was great until it wasn't. But I think most relationships are like that. So,
oh yeah, I bet.
She, I would say, withheld information or lied. Nah, kind of like the same outcome on that. She was on a bunch of prescribed medications, but I never knew anything about them because she was on a bunch of prescribed medications, but I never knew about them. She withheld the information. Her insurance company quit covering a certain pill she was on and gave her a generic kind. And what ended up happening was a chemical imbalance in her brain. Those pills didn't work for her anymore. So I graduated high school and we had our first apartment together. And she just changed. Her behavior changed. She literally went crazy, like literally, not just making it up to sound good about myself. Like she went crazy, man. I can remember one time I was vacuuming in the hallway and she unplugged the cord and whipped me with it because she thought I was cheating on her. And that was the first time I ever got arrested and went to jail. Because
she whipped you with a vacuum cleaner cord. I'm looking over here at my other producer, and you went to jail.
Because we lived in an apartment.
Tell me the story.
Okay, so I was logging. I come home from work. I'm like all dirty and nasty, you know, covered in sweat. Got like wood chips and stuff in my pockets and just dirty from working in the woods, you know. And I remember she wanted me to vacuum, so I was vacuuming. And I was in the hallway vacuuming. And she unplugged it and turned that cord into a whip and whipped me like crazy with it. Because, all crazy, like, yeah. She said she did it because she thought I was cheating on her because I got home like half hour later. But the thing about the job is like we're over, like work is done when the boss says it's done, you know. Yeah. It's not like 8 to 5, clock in, clock out. So
I'm
that
going to
was a
interrupt
little,
you here. I'm going to interrupt
yeah.
you here, but wouldn't common sense say, who am I going to cheat? What chick is going to want to get with me when I look like this coming home from
Um,
work? I'm not out there getting my balls licked because I'm all sweaty and nasty from a day in the fucking forest.
right. Oh
I'm just
man.
saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Well,
common sense.
I think there was no common sense because the generic pills prescribed to
You
her
think
was
that's
not
what
working
really?
for her.
You think that's what it was?
Yeah. Her brother told me all this, so it all made sense to me in
Oh,
the
okay.
end.
You had
But yeah,
confirmation.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what happened with you two? You guys broke up eventually.
Oh yeah, I got arrested for the first time ever in my life. It was
How
embarrassing.
did you? How are you the one that got arrested when she hit you? That's what I'm trying
Oh
to
man,
understand.
California is so backwards. Like I just don't understand some things sometimes. So I'm the victim. I get whipped to death, and
You had marks, right? Like welts on
oh,
you.
big marks. I was like getting beat up by the cat o' nine tails. I tell you what, man, it hurts so bad. I so we lived in an apartment complex. Your neighbors can hear you,
Mm-hmm. Of
and the cops are called. The cops show up within like a minute,
course.
and they just I remember the door opening and then me standing there, and then she totally switched character in the event, and she's like, "Get him away from me!" And then boom, I got arrested. And I'm kind of like slow to respond on things, especially when you're in a domestic dispute. It's like your world's spinning around like a snow globe being shook.
You're a processor. You think things through. You don't say unless you need to say. I know that about you.
Yeah,
So you're processing. They come
yeah.
in.
So I get arrested, and I don't even say anything. I just like whatever and go to jail, and then I was booked and released. But yeah, that's how that relationship ended. I did not
There's
pursue her, did not really talk to her anymore. She wanted to break up. That was the end of it. And to be honest, I didn't date for almost a year and a half after that.
really.
Yeah. I was kind of afraid of women in a sense. I don't know. Like a guy,
So was that your first girlfriend? That was the
Yeah.
Italian chick.
Well, like serious relationship, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move forward to the relationship that led to what we're going to talk about here in a minute.
Yeah.
So you
So
meet
you want,
her in high school. What's her name? Haley. Can we say
uh,
her name? Do we mean to bleep it?
yeah. Yeah.
We can bleep it
Haley.
if you want. Okay.
So,
He said it. He said it. We can use it.
yeah, that's right. So I think I was 18 or 17 and a half, something like that. And I was living in Hiuchi, California on Highway 199. Beautiful little town up there.
Beautiful. Beautiful up there. I just went through there on
Yeah.
Tuesday.
So I would go to work. I was a diesel mechanic. I did a lot of maintenance on machinery. I wasn't like rebuilding motors all the time, but basic maintenance and stuff. Motors hardly ever blew up. But I would always stop at the Hiuchi Hamlet in the morning and get like energy drinks and like a sandwich for the day. And then that's like how I met her. She was working there as a cash register. And one day I was just like, "Hey, you want to have dinner?" And she said yes. And that's kind of how it all started, that relationship. And it lasted
Mhm.
10 years. Um,
Was it
we
whirlwind?
moved in
Were you
together.
guys like madly in love? Like always doing stuff? What kind of a girl was she? She liked the
She's like
outdoor
a
stuff that
country
you did?
girl. She was more like a country girl, very outdoorsy. We did a lot of
Okay.
camping and hiking and fishing, and we did some road tripping. We went to the
Mhm.
Umpqua Hot Springs up in Oregon. That was pretty cool. Go to Disneyland. We traveled a little bit
Okay.
and shared a lot of good memories and stuff.
Mhm.
That that
So
relationship.
how long were you in the relationship before you proposed?
4 years. Wait, no, 6 years. Yeah, it was 6 years I proposed, and then 4 years of marriage.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you guys did all this. Look, we got the picture of the boat up here on the screen. So you guys do like all of this is you guys, right? Like you guys go out on these boats and you guys go camping and do all this outdoorsy shit. Like she's
yeah,
into this. She loves it too.
Yeah, my dad, he's also a river guide, and he would take us fishing
Oh,
on
he
her
is.
birthday and my birthday. Yeah, and
Cool.
we did a lot of stuff like that.
Okay. Right on. Sorry, we're
Yeah,
going. I found you sent me these photos, and I'm just so fascinated because A, they're beautiful photos. So this is Smith River.
the Smith River. Yeah, that's at the Forks in the Smith River. There, I actually caught a. I didn't have a scale with me, but I'd say a 28 to 26 pound salmon. Yeah, that one. I took that picture myself. I'm all alone on the river. It wasn't perfect, but that's the only photo I got of it. That was a big one. Yeah.
That's the other thing that's always amazed me about our relationship is as far as I've known you, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna go out this weekend. I'm going up into the hills. I'm gonna go hunting. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
you and your friends? No, me by myself. I'm like, dude, what if like you break an ankle and there's nobody to get you out? What are you gonna do? You're there by yourself, but you're completely comfortable and capable. Like that's amazing to me. I'm a city guy. I'm not used to
Yeah.
this shit. Remember the
Um,
first you were there when I caught my first fish ever. It was this big.
I do remember. Yes. Actually, I got a
Yeah.
picture of that somewhere, man. Um,
We've had good times.
yeah. There's a lot of risk when you go out in the mountains, though, you know. Mountain lions, I've had 3 encounters in my life. Mountain
Really?
lions and cougars, you know. Not like the
Tell me.
cougars at the bars, but the cougars in the mountains.
Oh, I've heard some stories about the cougars in the bars too, but tell me one of your cougar stories. I want to hear it.
One time I was
In the mountains.
hiking way out in the mountains. It's a 2 hour drive off road, and then it's like a 4 hour hike on a trail once you get all the way out there. And there's this creek, and I went to fill up my water bottles with my little water purifier pump thing. And it's nice and quiet. I'm the only one around, you know. And I get my water, and I'm walking back to my campsite. I'm packing like 2 gallons of water. And then Mother Nature, like on a TV remote, all of a sudden is like someone hit the mute button. The birds stop chirping. The woods go completely deaf. It's quiet. And then
No.
the hair on the back of my neck stands up. And for some reason, my body freezes.
That
And I'm just
primal
like, oh
fear freeze.
no. So I
Oh no.
slowly turn around. And of course, the mountain lion that I run into is the mountain lion of like Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know? It's like hella buff. It's monstrous. It's
You
huge.
saw it. Like you made eye contact with this thing.
It was like 15, 18 feet behind me, and it was in a pounce position. You know, when you're playing with your cat at home and it gets in like that little
Yeah.
squirrely pounce mode, like he's going to zoom across the carpet. That's what this mountain lion was doing. So I actually carry a 38 special revolver. And the reason I carry a revolver is because they don't jam. If it
My
misfires, it'll just rotate to the next chamber.
Before the show, Yusuf and I were talking. I showed him mine and I said the same thing. He goes, "Oh, revolver." I say, "Don't jam."
It won't jam. That's true. And that's why I carry it.
Yep.
Now, I didn't want to harm the animal, you know. I
No,
don't just go
no.
out there being all irresponsible and acting like a dick in the woods, you know. So I dropped my water bottles and I grabbed my pistol and I drew down on it. And this thing would not move. It would not run away. I yelled at it. I waved my hands in the air. And this thing still did not move. It was ready to pounce on me. And I I shot at it in front of it and kicked dirt up to show it
You
what kind of
actually
business.
fired at it.
Yeah, like 2 feet in front of it, I hit the dirt,
Sure.
and that thing took off running. So that was pretty cool. I didn't have to kill it, and I didn't have to be part of the menu. You know, boy, chef's special that night. But anyway,
Brandon Tartar.
that was a scary moment. Though that was a close encounter. But I have an even scarier story than that one.
Please.
I went deer hunting with one of my friends, and we hiked into this spot, and it was like 9 miles one way, and it was ridiculous, but it was beautiful, and we had a good time. And I packed the gear, and he packed the beer, and we set up camp. We get a fire going. We're having a good time. It's a clear night out. We can see all the stars. Kind of like a little Brokeback Mountain moment here, but no gay stuff.
I
We
wish I
were
knew how to
enjoying
quit
ourselves. It
you.
was a beautiful night. And I was in my hammock in my sleeping bag, So I'm like a little Mexican taco kind of scenario here, and my friend is in his tent, but in the middle of the night, I don't even know what time it was. We don't really carry a clock on us. I mean, we got our phones, but I didn't have it on me at this moment. So it could have been 1 o'clock in the morning. Could have been midnight. I don't know. But I was awoken by a foul odor. It smelled like a rotten meat, kind of like a moldy, musty blanket also. And it was a full moon that night. And so I'm awoken by this smell. It smells horrible. It smells like death. And then I'm looking around, and lo and behold, a California brown bear comes walking into our campsite. But we
I
don't
thought you were
have
going to say
food
fucking.
laying out.
I thought you were going to say Sasquatch.
Yeah. Um, yeah, this California
He's like,
brown
we'll
bear
get to
comes
that.
walking. And this bear must have been over 400 pounds. This thing was massive. Imagine like a Toyota Prius,
Mm-hmm.
but then turn that into a bear in size comparison. This looked like a grizzly bear from Alaska. This thing was ungodly. He had the arch in his shoulders. His head was like as wide as my chest cavity, and so were his paws.
Oh, I bet.
This bear was so big that I could see his nails. His claws were like my fingers, and that was creepy. It scared me so bad I was frozen. I couldn't move. I was frozen by fear completely. I had a gun and I had a rifle, and I could not move.
In the
And this
hammock,
bear
you
was
had
like,
these?
I wasn't. Well, it was the rifle's leaning on the tree. The
Okay.
pistol is on my side. I have a holster
Uh-huh.
for it, and
Sure.
yeah, this bear's like 20, 18 feet away from me, and I'm seeing it through the moonlight, and it smells horrible, like it was eaten on some old, dirty, nasty carcass or something. And it's just sitting there. Well, not sitting, but standing, I guess. And he's just staring at me. And this thing, man, it looked like the Grim Reaper. I knew I was gonna die that night. It was
Really?
so
You're like,
scary.
that's it. I'm done.
I knew that my pistol wouldn't do
No.
anything to it. No,
Mm-mm.
it's like spit wads to a tank. You know what I mean? Like it's just not gonna do anything. It's gonna make it angrier, basically. So I, uh, I was just frozen, and I was kind of praying, like just go away. And that's what the bear did. He looked at my friend's tent, and then it looked at me in the hammock, and then it just
He
kept on
saw you
walking.
both.
Saw us both.
Kept on going.
And then when the bear left the campground, I rolled out of that hammock, like flipping a hamburger on the grill, and I just grabbed my rifle and racked one in the chamber. I had a headlamp. I turned it on, and I woke my friend up. And then my friend, he was like, "Why didn't you shoot that bear? That thing was huge." And I was like, it would have killed us both, bro. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
why would
You would
I
have
wouldn't
shot that gun. He would have
Oh,
beat
he
you
would have
right now.
pounced on me and shredded me.
Yeah.
Like, he would have cut me up like government cheese. You know what I mean? Like, he would have just laid it on. It would have been bad. But that
And
didn't happen.
it's part of that wilderness brain that I guess every one of us has, but you especially because what do you got a bear out there?
Oh, I heard a stick break up there.
Don't be looking over your shoulder while you're interviewing and talking about bears, motherfucker.
I know, right? Yeah.
Have
Round
you
two.
got
You
it
ready?
wild? Have you had wildlife up there where you live? Like, have you seen bears or shit?
Yeah. The only wildlife I've seen this year, well, it is a new year. So last year, it was just a couple deer. But 2 years ago, when I first got here, I had 3 does and 2 bucks. And then there was a big black bear and 2 cubs. And then we had
Oh,
a
Cubs.
bobcat. And then there was a mountain lion I saw one time, but I only saw it once. And then, we got foxes, raccoons, possums, things like that.
Yeah,
But the
usual
birds,
critters.
there's a lot of birds here. We had eagles here for a while. That was so cool.
Like just living on close to you.
Yeah, just in the area. It was pretty cool. Kind of felt like a Disney princess almost for a minute because you had all that wildlife.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we got off topic big time. We were talking
Yeah, I'm
about
sorry.
you and no. I love hearing the stories. Those are the best parts
Yeah.
about the interviews is hearing these stories that people just happen to remember. It's kind of the beauty of this show is a simple question will lead you off into like a mind well, And also
Yeah,
you remember
definitely.
something like, when's the last time you thought about the bear story? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's keep going on. So you and her met. She's an outdoorsy girl like yourself.
Yeah.
You guys dated for, you said 6 years?
Overall, it was 10 years. I
I mean,
proposed.
before.
I think I proposed like, I should know this stuff, but I think it's more of a suppressed memory now. I might have proposed 4 years into it, but it could
Okay.
also be 6 years because we were married for 4, so I think 6. Yeah,
Okay.
and then it was really good. We inherited a house, and then I did a lot of the remodeling, the stuff I didn't know how to do. Our
Yep.
fathers helped, my dad, her dad. It was good, things were great. We even became foster parents for
I
almost a
remember.
year.
I
And
remember.
yeah, that was
Remember me, you and your foster kid used to
rewarding.
play video games together.
I do remember that. Yeah, those are good
Yeah.
times. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he got into some trouble and disappeared. And that was a little heartbreaking, but at least we tried,
You can only do
instead
so
of
much.
always having to wonder, like, what if. But
Yeah.
things were difficult, but we made the most out of it. And then, yeah, the foster kid, he went to a different place, I would say.
What are you gonna do?
But yeah,
So
go ahead.
when when in the relationship did you feel like things were starting to kind of break apart? Because I think this is the meat of
Well,
what I wanted to talk to you about today was
yeah,
this here, and then the
yeah, that would
next
have
thing,
been
which is the thing with Bill.
it was like that's kind of odd, but this is how it went. It's gonna be lengthy, but I give you the story on that.
Give it to me,
It
man.
was
I'm
during
I'm gonna light a
COVID.
cigarette and pour another beer.
Yeah, make it a 6 pack. So it was during COVID. Things were really hard. I was hardly working. She was hardly working. I think the whole world was hardly working. But the problem was, is we were still employed. We didn't get all that easy unemployment money a lot of people collected. So things were difficult. And she got better in like 4 days. I did not. I was on my deathbed. I could not breathe at all. I could take the biggest gulp of air. It would feel like the tiniest sip of air. It was scary. It was like drowning. And oh man, I lost so much weight. And I remember the night I wasn't gonna make it. I just couldn't breathe anymore. You ever go swimming and get water up your nose and it feels like you're drowning for a minute? That
Yeah.
was
Oh, yeah.
me all day long, sitting in a recliner. It was terrible. But the point of that story was she wanted to go out that night. And I was like,
While
you
she got
can't.
better, so she got better and you were still sick.
Yeah, basically on my deathbed. Like I was worthless, man. I couldn't do anything. Couldn't even get up to go to the bathroom. It was terrible. No oxygen, couldn't even talk. Gotta have
Mhm.
oxygen to talk. It was horrible. She wanted to go out to the bar with her lady friends. And I was like, you can't do that. Are you crazy? She's like, I've never felt bad getting anyone sick in my life. Have you? I said, no, but this is different. And she's like, you just trying to start an argument so I can't go out tonight. And I was like, no, I'm giving you good advice. I don't think you should go and get all your friends killed by this illness because it's real.
Yeah.
It's not made up by the media like you think, kind of like a small Republican review, a little bit, just like, oh, it's a man made illness. Anyway, she wanted to go out. And I said, no, don't, you're going to mess a lot of people's lives up. You
Mhm.
are contagious and you are sick as hell. And she's like, I feel fine. And then I remember she said, I don't even know why we're having this discussion. I'm going out with my friends, but I'm not coming home tonight either. And sometimes it would be better if you weren't here in the morning, like if you died in your sleep tonight. And I
She
have it
said
on
that to
recording on
you?
my phone. Yeah, I have it in recording on my phone because I couldn't believe where this conversation was going. So I just like hit record. It was a video, but it's just audio. I had the phone laying in the
Now,
recliner.
I'm
I
sorry to
couldn't believe
interrupt, but
it. I thought I was losing my mind. Like that's when I first knew
was this
things were getting.
the first time that you guys have had a conversation that went like this
Yeah, that's when I started
ever.
noticing things were getting weird in the
Okay.
relationship. Was during COVID, and she wanted to go out and party, and she was sick, man, and I was hella sick. I was
Mhm.
bedridden. She wasn't, but yeah, she went out that night. She also did not come home that night.
Like she
And
said she wouldn't.
you ever get like a terrible gut feeling, kind of like how that mountain lion story was. Um, I just had this crazy feeling, so I started playing detective in the house. And I, upon my searching of looking for clues of any kind of cheating, I found all the signs, man.
Like what? Talk
Lingerie
to
I
me.
never purchased or seen before. It was not brand new. It was used. That's screwed up, man. I
So
found,
belonging to her that she bought for other people, not for you.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And then like she came home the next day in the afternoon. So this cheating started in June. I got COVID in August. One day after all that research of like investigating the house, I found her phone laying down, but it kept going off.
You
And I
didn't.
tell you the truth, man, I put my hand on the Bible. I've only ever looked at her phone 2 times in that 10 years of a relationship. But I had a gut feeling upon my research from the other day. So I just
Yeah.
opened her phone, and guess what? I had a password on it. I didn't know the password, but I tilted my phone like at an angle so where you can see the draw pattern with the fingerprints.
Yeah.
And I remember it was a backwards P, and I did it. And oh my God, dude, talk about the director's cut. It deleted all the rumors you could ever think of. Going through that phone was
Yeah,
like
pictures and
looking
all that shit.
everything, and it was like good medicine, but it was like heartbreaking at the same time. My world was fell apart and crushed completely. So like finding lingerie, for example, you're just like, she might be cheating on me. She's
Mhm.
probably cheating on me. But going through her phone was like
So what
hard
I
evidence.
I don't wanna, it's my job.
Yeah.
I gotta bring it up. What did you see? What was it? Was it like dirty text, like, let's get together, or was it proof like last night was great kind of thing? Like, was there solid evidence 100%?
It was all of that and then some. So it was like
And
dirty
then some.
pictures with
Okay.
her wearing the wedding ring I gave her. And that was heartbreaking. It was terrible. Because like we've been
I
together
feel
for a
that.
total of 10 years, been through so many things, experienced life together, so many good memories and bad memories and
Okay, so you
teamwork.
find all this.
All that effort of 10 years was just like an ice cube melting away, man.
How do you confront somebody after all of this time and you have all of this evidence?
Okay, so when this happened, when I went through her phone, I went through it for like 3 minutes, but it felt like watching the Titanic movie, man. It just went on forever.
Sure.
um, there was dirty pictures. She was dating 5 people at the time. Um,
5 people,
yeah,
not 1.
yeah, and to make it even worse, there were all the people we would hang out with, go out to dinner, go out to the bar with. So the joke
Your
was on
fucking
me.
friends.
Yeah,
So you'd be out with them and not knowing that she was
not
already hooking up with these guys.
did not know that until I went through the phone that day. So that was pretty hard. So anyway, after going through all that crazy stuff, I just took it like a shot of whiskey and a grain of salt, and just like, wow, fuck me. My world's falling apart. I remember confronting her, and it's really hard to confront a narcissistic, pathological liar.
Mhm.
Now, it's one thing to understand what that means, and it's another thing to experience your life with someone that is like that because they could lie so easily. You don't know what the truth is.
Yeah.
So when I confronted her, I said, "Hey, I went through your phone. Haven't done that in probably 8 years. You're cheating on me." And she goes, no, I'm not cheating on you. Those are just my friends. And I was like, well, adultery is cheating. Lying to your partner is not okay. And I don't I don't know what to do. Like, our marriage is over, right? There's no way to save this. And I remember getting on my knees and kind of like hugging her. And I was just like, how could you do this to me? I love you so much. I'd give you the world. I'd give you a kidney if it had to be, like all the money in the world, I would give it to you. How could you cheat on me? She put her hand on my head like you would pet your dog and say, good boy. She goes, Branden, no man could ever love me enough. I love the attention from everyone. And I just can't get enough of it. And if our marriage is over, fuck it. I don't care. Get the fuck out of my life. That was so heartbreaking.
She fucking told you the
Yeah.
truth on the spot. She didn't even hide it.
Yeah. She didn't. It was terrible. And I was just like, seriously? She goes, yeah. It was crazy. When I went through her phone, you kind of memorize who she was talking to, kind of thing. And there was 5 individuals she was messing around with. It was crazy. I went and got not a drug test, blood work done at the hospital. Make sure I
Yeah,
don't
no
have like
shit.
herpagona or anything like that.
Yeah.
So those are all the diseases mixed into one word. I found out, by the way.
He's like, is
Um,
my dick gonna fall off? What's going on here?
yeah, so I go to the hospital and I'm heartbroken. I feel like an abandoned puppy dog on the highway.
Sure.
I go to the hospital to get blood work done, and dude, I passed out when they drew blood from me because I wasn't eating because I couldn't eat.
Yeah, you were just stressed and
Yeah, and oh my gosh, and then for that time I passed out, it was crazy. It was like a bunch of short stories, these dreams I was having, but I could hear the nurses talking to me the whole time, but I couldn't wake up, and it was hella creepy. It was kind of like playing Marco Polo, and I could not wake up. It was scary. But then I woke up like they said half an hour later from passing out, from getting blood work done. That was
and you're
crazy.
not a squeamish guy. You gut fucking animals and shit in the wild.
Yeah, I could flay fish, I could gut deer,
Yeah.
butcher cows.
You were just I know what it's like, dude.
Yeah,
You've gone through combat, and then on top of combat, they're like, oh, by the way, we're gonna invade your body with a needle. You're like, you know
yeah.
what?
And I
How
have a
about
weakness
enough
for
is
needles.
enough?
I can't do it.
So
But my test results came back. I don't know. I think I got them a week later. Probably could have got them sooner, but it came back negative, and that was a huge relief. So that was a blessing. But yeah,
but
it's
hold on, time out, buddy.
yeah,
Because we're gonna talk. After all this happened, because I was there for the end of it. You remember. You and
I
I worked
do.
together during
Yeah,
all of this. We went to lunch one day, Chinese buffet. You know what I'm
yes.
talking about. And we were talking about this exact situation. And you fucking told me, dude, that you went back and you guys had a night together. Why? I've never understood why. And this is a question I've wanted to ask you for so long. She broke your fucking heart and you went back for another night. Why,
It was
dude?
kind of like it was kind of like a trap that night. And I know I'm my own person, and I could have left at any time. But I was collecting some leftover property,
What?
and
Her?
I went over there to get some stuff. And she made dinner, and it
For
was one
both
of
of
my
you or
favorite foods. It was this pasta with like the oven baked tomatoes and bacon. I forget what it's called, but it was a really good pasta dish, and I love it. Can't get enough of it. It's just hella good, and she makes it spot on. And she did that, and then we just were talking, and time flew by. And then, in a way, she jumped my bones, and yeah, we ended up being intimate that night. But
right?
I didn't stay the night because she fucking left to go party with her
He
friends.
left.
Yeah,
She's like, that's
and
it.
left
I'm out.
me and left me at home and we had a chocolate lab together. His name's Rowdy,
Mhm. Rowdy. I know
and
Rowdy.
I remember just hanging out with the dog and sitting in that recliner I almost died in when I had COVID. And it was weird. I was just in the house. And this whole time, like we were separated for a month when I went over that night to get back to get some stuff. And then she had dinner. And then that night I stayed for a bit. Um, she still had our wedding pictures on the wall. Isn't that weird? Now, they're not just pictures. These are damn portraits you get at Walmart, the big old canvases.
Yeah.
And they were still hanging on the wall. I never understood that.
Okay.
Gosh,
So
yeah.
you had a night together. You got back together for a night, and then she took off and split. Was
Yeah,
it
on
that
the
point
same
you
night.
realized all these feelings are just bullshit and it's over?
Yeah.
Or are you, even to this day, do you still hold a thread? Maybe, or is
No,
that just,
no,
that's
I
just
get
over?
that went away about 3 years ago.
Okay.
Um, a year and a
You've been
half.
dating since?
What's that?
You've been dating since?
I've tried dating, but it's a vicious world out there, man. I tell you,
No shit.
get played or be the player. I have not found a good down to earth country girl yet. I wanted to. I've been on 16 dates exactly, and
He's got a fucking logbook. He's all keeping track.
I do have logbook because my memory's been garbage ever since COVID. I don't know if it's brain
Oh,
fog or whatever you want to call it, but my memory is not as good anymore.
do you keep a
And
kind of a diary that helps you like accumulate your thoughts?
no, no,
Not really.
I don't. No,
No. Okay.
I've
Anyway,
had ideas.
um,
I've had
so
ideas of memory making for record keeping, or helping,
right.
but I kind of just work myself to death all the time. Seems to be a better medicine for me. Yeah.
So we've got about 7 minutes left.
Okay.
As we kind of wrap up, I want to talk briefly about this new venture that you're doing because we met working for a cab company. Well,
Yeah.
you worked for one, I worked for a taxi company. You came over when your company disbanded. I'm just kind of giving a synopsis so we can cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Uh, when your company disbanded, you came over and joined the company I worked for. We won't mention the name, that would be indiscreet.
For sure.
Um, but I will say that we both worked this guy named Bill. As far as I knew Bill, he was always good to me because I showed up every day, before I needed to be there. I was always able to take extra shifts. I was, above and beyond, and he usually rewarded that. And then
Yes,
you
that's
came
true.
along and you kind of got the same treatment. He realized you were a hard worker. You always showed up on time. And then things went sour. So in the short time we have left, instead of going over like what happened and going
Yeah.
sour,
Yeah.
we were both medical transport guys. We used to
Yep.
take people to their doctor's appointments on long hauls. I used to make it, 2.5, 3 hour trips, but you were a long haul guy. You'd go to San Francisco and beyond. You did all of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
700-mile trips. Yeah.
exactly. I left the company to go back and do my passion, which of course is cooking again, but you stayed. And then things kind of fell out between you and Bill. So you were talking about starting your own company. Can you tell me about some of the challenges that you've encountered while doing this? Is it an easy road to start your own
Yeah.
medical transport company?
Yeah. After 6 years of working for the same employer, um, towards the end of my 6 years, kind of got tired of a few things. Even though it wasn't my place to voice my opinion, I kept it to myself. I wanted to do my own medical transport. So I did some research, I kept There was a lot of research, all kinds of computer work, permits and applications and stuff. I am so close to starting my own medical transport company, and I came up with a cool name. It's going to be Six Rivers,
I
and
like it.
yeah, kind of symbolizes the area we live in here.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I I'm it's like a calling. You ever just find something you're really good at,
Yeah.
and
Cooking
this
for me, driving for you.
Yeah, driving for me. So I'm just really good at it. And being a private contractor, you kind of like are your own boss, you know, paperwork and all that stuff and bills and all kinds of responsibility. So I'm gonna just do my own thing now. And it's been pretty expensive, I would say, a quarter of $500,000.
Yeah,
And it's a great responsibility, but I've been doing it for 8 years total and 2 years at Coastline back in the day.
I
And
remember.
then 6 years at the last job. And I just want to do it on my own, you know? I want to be my own boss. I want to work as much or as little as I want. And it's just like a calling. It's just something I'm good at. It doesn't feel like I even go to work. And I like jobs that are rewarding, you know? I like to help people and, you know, taking them to their appointment for whatever reason it may be.
Yeah.
It's rewarding. I mean, sometimes the hours really suck, you know, getting up at midnight or 3 in the morning. It can be hard, but overall it's rewarding and I like to help people.
And
And
you've got yourself a yurt. You got 2 pups. Oh,
yeah,
by the way, I know you have Rowdy, but what's your other dog's name?
Maggie, she has a yellow lab.
Okay,
Yeah, I got her probably 6 months ago now.
nice.
And they're
So
out here playing.
as we wrap up, you've gone through the marriage thing, the dating thing 16 times. You've kind of been doing the business thing. You're kind of, you're starting up what you want to do for a living and
Yeah,
make your way in the world.
yeah.
As we close here, if there was one piece of advice you could give to people that are kind of in your own situation, who have and lost love, who are trying to get their life started up, who are trying to get things going, you can't go inside your yurt. The internet sucks in there. Um, what advice would you give to people that are in your position? You got to
Well,
go back outside that yurt,
it's
homie.
like the oh, okay.
It
Shoot.
sucks in there
Oh, my
so
phone's
bad.
dying.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna
Okay.
wrap up in like 2 minutes
If I
anyway.
had to give advice, okay. If I had to give any advice, I would say the difference between success and failure is discipline. If you can wrap your mind around it hard enough, you can overcome anything in your way. So just set your mind to something and be positive about it. And you can achieve whatever you set your mind to. If you want it bad enough, you'll find a way to get it done. For me, it was property and solitude. So I worked 2 years
Mhm.
straight. It was hard. It was difficult. Most mornings
For
I
your
cried
own
when
piece
my
of
alarm
heaven.
clock. Yeah,
Brandon,
alarm clock went off. I would cry. I would just be like, I can't. But
I
I
can't.
found a way. You know, I
Yeah.
I turned my heartbreak into fuel. I didn't do drugs or alcohol. I just kept working.
You
And
even quit drinking. You
the
gave me,
different
I've still got it.
the difference.
I still got your
Yeah,
pot grinder you
the
gave me.
difference. Yeah, you still got it
I still got
all
it,
these
baby.
years. Yeah, yeah,
Well,
that's
listen,
good.
we're wrapping things up.
Okay.
I understand that you're moving forward. You've got a bright future, dude. You know, I always wish you the best of luck. You're a
Yeah,
decent, good friend of mine. Please hang out with me more at the pub. Come in and see me. I'll buy you a beer. I'll make you a pizza.
yeah, that sounds good.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, dude. I really appreciate you. And that, my friends, is the
Sounds
last sip from Behind the Pint. Thanks for joining us today. Keep your spirits high, your pints full, and until next time, I'm Spicy saying the bar's closed.